Selling a vintage muscle car usually brings out two types of people. Genuine gearheads who want to talk about carburetors for 3 hours, and absolute sharks looking to rip you off. But yesterday, I encountered a third type, a wealthy collector who thought he could steal my 1969 Mustang from 1,000 miles away using a fake check and a sob story. He was so confident, so arrogant, that he sent me real cash to prove he was legitimate. He didn't realize that I knew exactly how his game worked. He thought he was buying a car. Instead, he ended up buying me a brand new set of tires with his own money. It was heartbreaking to even list her. My 1969 Ford Mustang Fastback, candy apple red, 302 V8 engine, and a roar that could set off car alarms 3 blocks away. I spent 5 years restoring this car, busting my knuckles in the garage every weekend, smelling like gasoline and old oil. But life happens. I needed the cash for a down payment on a house, so I snapped some high-res photos and threw the listing up on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. Asking price, $25,000. Firm. Within 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes, my phone buzzed. It wasn't a question about the mileage or the rust or the transmission history. It was a message from a profile with no photo and a generic name, James Williams. The message was oddly formal, almost robotic. Hello, I am very interested in your item. The condition looks pristine. I accept your asking price of $25,000 immediately. Please remove the listing. Red flags started waving in my head instantly. No real car guy buys a vintage Mustang without asking to hear the engine run. No one drops 25 grand without kicking the tires. I knew right then and there that James wasn't looking for a car. He was looking for a victim. I decided to reply just to see where this rabbit hole would go. I replied, "Sure, James. When do you want to come see it? I'm free this weekend." His response came back faster than a text from a jealous ex. It was a wall of text, clearly copied and pasted from a script he uses on 100 people a day. "I am currently working offshore on an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico," he wrote. "Strict security protocols prevent me from making phone calls or leaving the site. I am buying this vehicle as a surprise anniversary gift for my father. I cannot come personally to inspect it, but I trust your description." Yeah, right. The classic oil rig or military deployment excuse. It's designed to explain why they can't meet you and why they can't pay cash. He continued, "Because I don't want to lose this deal to another buyer, I want to secure it right now. I will send you a $500 deposit via Zelle immediately if you promise to mark the listing as sold. This deposit is non-refundable to show my commitment." He was trying to lock me down. He wanted me to take the car off the market so no legitimate buyers could warn me. He was aggressive, pushing for the sale, banking on my greed to override my common sense. I decided to call his bluff. I thought, "Okay, scammer, if you're real, pay up." I sent him my Zelle info, fully expecting a fake email pretending to be from my bank. You know the type. "You have a pending payment. Click here to verify." But that's not what happened. My phone actually pinged with a legitimate banking notification. I opened my app, and my jaw hit the floor. 500 Zers received from James Williams. It was real money. It was sitting in my available balance. I could spend it right now. This is the part that confuses amateur sellers. Why would a scammer send real money? It's simple. It's an investment. To him, $500 is just bait. He's fishing for a $25,000 car and $5,000 in cash. If he has to spend a few $100 to earn my absolute trust and make me feel obligated to him, he'll do it. He knows that once I accept his money, I'm psychologically hooked. I feel like we have a contract. I feel like I owe him." He texted immediately, "Deposit sent. Please mark it sold. I am arranging the payment for the rest." I looked at the $500 and thought, "Well, James, you just made a very expensive mistake." The next day, the real scam began. James messaged me with the plan. He said, "My financial advisor is mailing you a certified cashier's check for the payment. However, there was a small mix-up. The check was cut for $30,000 instead of $25,000. Here it comes. The overpayment scam. It is the oldest trick in the book, yet people fall for it every day. He explained, the extra $5,000 is to pay the private shipping company that will come to pick up the Mustang. I need you to deposit the check, take your $25,000 share, and then wire the remaining $5,000 to my shipper via Western Union or Bitcoin. If I did that, here is what would happen. The check he sent me is a forgery, but it's a good forgery. My bank would tentatively clear it and make the funds available. I would send $5,000 of my own real money to his shipper, who is actually just him. 2 weeks later, the bank would realize the check is fake, bounce it, and deduct the full $30,000 from my account. I'd be out $5,000 and he'd be gone. But he didn't know that I frame fake checks for fun. 3 days later, a FedEx envelope arrived. Inside was the check. I have to give credit where credit is due. It was a masterpiece of forgery. It had the watermarks, the heat-sensitive ink, the holographic strip. It looked like a legitimate cashier's check from a major bank. If I were a desperate seller or someone who didn't know better, I would have run to the bank immediately, thinking I just sold my car. I held it up to the light, admiring the craftsmanship of this criminal. James was texting me incessantly now. "Has the payment arrived? Please deposit it immediately so the funds clear. My shipper is waiting for the transfer." He was pushing the urgency, trying to make me panic, so I wouldn't stop to think. I took a picture of the check lying on my desk next to a cup of coffee and sent it to him. "Got it, James. Looks great." I didn't tell him that instead of driving to the bank, I was walking over to my shredder. Actually, no, I decided to frame it. A $30,000 souvenir. I let him sweat for a few hours. He kept messaging, "Is it deposited? Send the receipt." Finally, I sat down and typed out my reply. "Hey, James, thanks for the check. It's beautiful. I'm going to hang it on my wall right next to the other fake checks I've collected." The silence on the other end was deafening. I continued, "I know the check is fake. I know you aren't on an oil rig. And I know the shipper is just you waiting for a wire transfer." The ... typing indicator appeared and disappeared for a full minute. He was scrambling. Finally, he dropped the act. The formal, polite English vanished, replaced by angry, broken slang. "You are a thief! Send me back my money! Send back the $500, or I call the police." The irony was so thick you could cut it with a knife. A criminal threatening to call the cops on me because I caught him trying to rob me. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my drink. He demanded I Zelle the $500 back immediately. He said, "If you don't send it back, I will report you for fraud." I replied with a screenshot of his very first message. I circled the part where he wrote, "This deposit is non-refundable to show my commitment." I typed back, "James, look at the agreement. You said it yourself, non-refundable. You paid me $500 to hold the car. I held the car for 3 days. I took down the listing. I rejected other buyers. You failed to complete the purchase because your funds were fraudulent. Therefore, I am keeping the deposit as compensation for my wasted time and the marketing leads I lost." Technically, Legally and morally, I was in the clear. He entered a contract, he breached it, and he paid the penalty. He sent a string of curses that would make a sailor blush, but I knew he was powerless. He couldn't go to the bank and say, "I tried to steal a car with a fake check, and the guy kept my deposit." He was checkmated. I blocked James on everything. I reported his profile to Facebook and the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, though I doubt they'll catch him. But the best part? I took that $500, his money, the money he stole from some other grandmother or unsuspecting victim, and I put it to good use. I drove down to the auto shop and bought a brand new set of BF Goodrich tires for the Mustang. Every time I drive that car now, every time I hear the rubber grip the asphalt, I think of James. He tried to ruin my life, steal my hard work, and empty my bank account. Instead, he subsidized my restoration project. Folks, if you're selling a car, remember, cash is king, meet in person, and if they send a deposit and start acting shady, keep it. Consider it an idiot tax. The Mustang is safe, and James is out $500. That's what I call a good day.